could be anywhere at work, learning new software, playing with AI, but you came out today to be in person in real life, to be with real people in a beautiful setting, to learn about something really amazing. We have a speaker today who has done the unimaginable, which is to write down the most cosmic imaginary circumstances into a roadmap for the next generation of explorers for the human mind, soul, and heart. And I'm really excited about this talk. And at the end, you'll also hear about the next talk on Halloween day, Halloween morning. And that is going to be a very exciting talk where we have a guest host, and we expect a full house. So we'll tell you more about that at the very end of our show. So raise your hand if this is your first time to Creative Mornings. Awesome. Great, thank you. Welcome, everybody. So Creative Mornings is a global phenomenon with over 244 chapters now worldwide. And we happen to have one right here in our little town on the Monterey Peninsula. And now you are an ambassador for other people to come and meet and join our. All right, so what we do is we lift up our creative community. So if you know anybody who's got a business and a reason to be out mingling with people and promoting themselves and want to network, this is a networking and keynote opportunity. So let's fill the house every month and make this community get bigger. And if we fill up our house, you can always attend online through our live stream option for every event. This talk is going to be recorded, and it'll be released in a couple of weeks. All right, our global sponsor is Adobe. They've been supporting Creative Mornings Global HQ now for about 6 or 7 months. So let's hear it for Adobe. They believe in the vision of helping the creative community, and they have all kinds of products and resources. And one thing that they want me to point out this month is their Adobe's Career Resources Guide. So if you look this up, they have like this whole campaign to help people start up their creative businesses. You know, and I think it's born out of this, our whole, we'll call it our, technological like evolution, but there's a lot of great resources on here that you can explore. And one of them is this Adobe Creative Apprenticeship, where you can follow the bouncing ball and start your own website and make your own flyers and use their tools and pay their subscription fees and get your career launched. All right, let's hear it for Wave Street Studios. Wave Street, as you know, is ever evolving. And this place is going through just another tier of evolution. So with their new permit granting that took 35 years for it to be completed. No, not quite that long. But they're installing their sync system, and their bar is becoming more capable of serving bar stuff, serving food. I think that's what they're going to start doing. Rhett, do you want to come in up here and talk just for a minute about this?
We're adding espresso.
Okay. Yes. Rhett, how much did that espresso machine cost?
It was $6,000.
So the vision is one day you will all come here and you get to order, you get the free drip coffee, or you could order a latte or espresso or whatever have you, and they'll do something unique for you. So this is the new awesome coffee shop soon. All right, and also House of 8 Media, that's my company. I am your bespoke personal cameraman, director, and creative director, and I love helping businesses help amplify their message. I like large architectural projects. That's my jam. I like filming landscapes and wildlife. So if you have any projects, if you've got a budding documentary inside of you and you need some help getting it out and translating your book into high definition, or your e-course, getting that going, let me know. I'll be in the back. And I invite all of you to stick around for 30 to 40 minutes after the program and meet each other and pass business cards. So don't rush off after the program, but please make some new friends today. All right, so this month's sponsor is Everett Alvarez High School, their Mission Trails Regional Occupation Program. Let's hear it for our cameramen, our audio technicians, our event managers, thank you so much for volunteering your time and getting a reason to leave school. All right, this month's theme is Blossom. And to introduce this month's theme is a very good friend of mine named Nick Villarreal. Nick is my trainer, he is my coach, and sometimes my lifeline when I'm out in the wilderness. So he's my guide. I put together this little video from our last excursion, and this is the first draft. So it's very rough. This is just for you guys. I got this last night from our editor, Grant, who put this together. I'm very proud of it, and I'm open to feedback. If you want to hear, you can give feedback to me or Nick at the end. Give us some good thoughts, because it's a creative community and you guys are all bright people, so give us some good ideas on how to improve this to promote his next excursion for Back to Wild.
If you're ready to slow down time, if you're willing to strip back the noise and meet yourself face to face, then it's time for you to get back to wild. This isn't a vacation, it's a hero's journey. Out here, you'll sweat, you'll stumble, you'll confront yourself, and in the fire of it all, you will rise. We call it an excursion, but it's so much more than that. It's a brotherhood, a pack, a chance to build relationships that cut deeper than surface small talk. You'll get tested mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. And if you're ready for it, if you're willing to see who you are without the mask, this is your invitation. Because Back to Wild isn't for the faint of heart. It's for the man who's done being tamed. It's for the one who knows he's meant for more. So if you're ready to check your wild factor, click the link, join the pack, and I'll see you out there at the next excursion.
Awesome.
Awesome. Good morning, everybody. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Mike. That was an amazing video. That's going to be hard for me to follow. Awesome. Well, I was super honored this morning when Mike asked me to be the intro speaker to this amazing person that we're about to witness today. And we're about to go on a trip. Who's ready for a trip? You guys ready? Yeah. So just like any trip, the most important thing is to be grounded. All right, we want to be grounded in our body, so I just invite you all to just kind of relax your shoulders, feet on the floor. You know, I know we all just woke up, maybe came from a chaotic whatever. All right, I'm sure some of us are just jittery on coffee maybe right now. I know I am. So let's go ahead and just take a breath, a nice big breath in. And just let it out. If you let out a sigh, let's take one more. And with the sigh, let it go. There we go. We can chill out. So, awesome. Blossom. Blossom. We see flowers blossoming. It's usually a seasonal thing. But blossoming also means to develop in a promising and healthy way. Like caterpillars. Great metaphor for a blossom. Going through caterpillar stage, being a worm, and then diving into that chrysalis stage where things literally fall apart, where things literally break down into a goop. I don't know about you, but that sounds painful. And I think we are in the goop right now. Raise your hand if you've been in some goop ever in your life, right? Exactly. We've all been there. And I think as a society, we are definitely in some goop. And I don't know about you, but it's painful right now. Woo! But pain creates change. We are at a fork in the road, ladies and gentlemen, with AI, and either we can surrender to an intelligence external of ourselves that, quote unquote, has the answer of the accumulation of all human knowledge, but from the past. I don't know about, I'm sure there's analytics about AI being predictive and whatnot, or we can choose to dive deeper into our own divine consciousness. Surrender to the intelligence that has always been inside of ourselves to create solutions that are humanity oriented, that are connection and aligned with our own, all of mankind. I run a company, Back to Wild, and the goal is to help men reconnect with that wild, instinctual self, dropping all of the BS, which is so important, and no longer seeking those externalities that keep us wanting, that keep us needing more and more. Humans, we are super resourceful. We have tools, and I'm excited to talk about some of the tools today. Some of these tools have been demonized. These conscious, expanding, human connecting tools are being called on yet again to help reunite humanity. And I am super excited to hear this amazing man's process of how he's bringing one of these tools that I believe has the potential to save us by helping us dive deeper into our own consciousness and finding answers that have always been there but have been bulldozed by an idea. Whatever that idea is, I'm sure it's different for all of us. Whatever is stolen, our innate divine consciousness, distracted by some sort of externality. So I am super excited as we uncover this process that he's been through, introducing this amazing psychedelic author and thought leader in the revolution that has the potential to save and reunite humanity, a true wild man. I would like to present to you Benjamin Forrest.
And it's great looking out in the audience. I see so many familiar faces from all these different communities that I have found around here. Some people I didn't recognize immediately, but it turns out we've done medicine together. What a magical group of people you all are. So this theme of blossom actually serendipitously really hits me. I feel like the last 5 years of my life have been a place of blossoming. And with this book being released at the beginning of this month, there's a new opportunity to blossom. And in my book, I think it's fair to say that that's my invitation. My invitation is for people to blossom and to heal, love, and live more fully. That is the point of this. So I find it very fitting. So inevitably, I do have to share a little bit of my story. So we'll dive into that real quickly. And then I want to talk about the creative blossoming. Usually when I talk, I'm talking about the contents of the book. But because this is Creative Mornings, I actually want to talk about the creative process for the first time in front of a crowd, because you all might appreciate it. So we'll dive into that. And then I'll give you a look at the book's basic principles, the 10 principles that I've found in my work with psychedelics, both myself and coaching clients. Do a little Q&A and an invitation there. So for my story, I'm going to start off with a little 90-second video because I am pretentious enough to have a book trailer for you. So, how do we click that?
I'm Benjamin Forrest, author of Trip of a Lifetime, the psychedelic guide to healing, loving, and living. After 25 years of military service and a lifetime of depression, I found a way out of my suffering. Through the therapeutic use of psychedelics, I discovered a healing, joy, and freedom I never thought possible. In this book, I share the most powerful lessons psychedelics have taught me and those I've coached. Whether you're curious about psychedelics, preparing for your first journey, or integrating a recent one, Trip of a Lifetime is your compassionate and wise companion. If you seek to heal, love, and live more fully, this book is for you.
the guy who put that together usually makes horror movies, but that wasn't so scary, was it? No. And so, yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, like, that is my story. I am a guy with a story. This story was I spent 25 years in the military, started out enlisted, had a very successful career in the halls of the Pentagon, Iraq, Afghanistan, and god damn it, at the end of my career, just as I thought I was about to go be a colonel, I collapsed on active duty. I'd always struggled with depression, but after my father died from cancer and a whole domino of things just fell apart, like, I was brought to this just desperate low. And so I begged to be released and retired from service, and they allowed me to do that. Outside of the service, like, I had a job here and I quit, and I took the next job and I quit. Like, I didn't care anymore. Like, all of those scripts that I'd inherited from society, like, they just didn't matter, and I was broken. And we're coming up on Veterans Day in November here. So 5 years ago on Veterans Day, the day before actually, I walked into a VA hospital to the emergency room and said, I want to die. That's how broken I was. And I was in there for 3 days. It was obvious they didn't have any ability to help me. And so there was this kind of click of like, okay, nobody else can save me. I have to save myself. I'm going to be my own fucking hero. And on the drive home from the hospital, I called my boss and said, I'm never coming into work again. When I got home, I looked my wife in the eye and I said, my health and happiness is more important than this marriage. Like, all of that energy that I'd been flowing towards all of the other stuff, all the achievements out there in the world, what if I took all that energy and I put it on healing Benjamin? And that's what I did. And within a few months of this rabbit hole of like, how do I heal myself, I came across this TED Talk by Dr. Rosalind Watts, Can Magic Mushrooms Unlock Depression? And I watched that TED Talk, I'm like, that's it. I'm going in. I'm going back there into my subconscious, and I'm going to put together this puzzle and figure out what the fuck's wrong with me. And that's what happened. I found a retreat center. It was being run by a woman with a PhD in psychology, group ceremony. And in one damn night, boom, the depression disappeared and never came back. And it wasn't even like the depression was gone. It was like I had tapped into this joy and this energy that was inside me all the time. You know, I was Dorothy. I just had to click my heels, and it was inside me all along. And if I had to describe like what it was, I think I was emotionally constipated. You know, I was raised as a boy being told boys don't cry. My dad was a very stoic man. Then I'm in the military, and I'm just pushing all of these feelings down for years and years and years until it fucking broke me. And so if I'm emotionally constipated, what's the cure? An emotional laxative. And for me, that was psychedelics. Like, if I had to crystallize what psychedelics did for me, it opened my heart. And since then, I've devoted myself full time to exploring medicine, both for myself and with clients, and now stepping out to be, an author and a speaker and a coach around this stuff. And that is my new trip of the lifetime. So don't do mushrooms, not even once. You know, on the far end is me in Kandahar back in 2011 or 12. It was the day I pinned on Lieutenant Colonel as I was serving as a squadron commander. It's me hanging out with my bud, George W., on the golf course. And then this guy came in. This was the very first photograph taken of me after the mushroom experience, which seems fitting. And a lot of creative pursuits and creative people came into my life. So one of my photographer buddies wanted to do a photo shoot, and I fell in love with improv comedy. I'm part of Monterey Comedy Improv, and that's originally where I met Nick. We were playing together in improv. And you know, I love this military Ben guy. Like, I love him. He did a lot for me, but this guy's having a lot more fun. So that is my story. Now I want to talk about the creative blossoming. And this is where you guys come in, because you all are the creative fuckers. All right, so I found that after psychedelics, I became so drawn to creativity. Like, when I was a child, like, creativity was just what I did. I was getting lost in my imagination. I got my first rejection letter from a publisher at the age of 11. Like, I always wanted to be a writer. You know, I was that creative kid. I didn't really care about grades or school or a lot of the shit I was supposed to care about. I just wanted to create and play. And after psychedelics, it really came out. You know, I took up photography, found I had a real eye for beauty. I took up painting and found, okay, there's not really a natural talent there, but I'm still going to play with it fearlessly. I don't need to impress anybody. Tried playing the guitar, but I think I'm more of a fan than a musician. That's fine. Tried improv, and oh my God, that is the most fun hobby I have. And I'm pretty fucking good at it, and I'm not ashamed of that. And then writing. As soon as I took psychedelics, like that same weekend, the book started forming in my head. Like I remember having a conversation at the weekend, and in my head, like there was this little window back into my subconscious, and it was working on the book already. There was an opening line that my brain was putting together. She handed me a cup of tea, and life was never the same again. And that line in altered form is actually in the preface. Like it did survive over those 4 years. And so the first book, the first time I tried to write this book, I got 320 pages into it. And it was a memoir of my experience and then traveling all over the world, trying different medicines. And after 300 pages, I'm like, oh shit. This is a memoir. It's all about me. And then this question came into my mind. I think this is a really important question for any writer. Who did I write this for? And when I looked at that first draft, it was obvious I wrote it for me. And there's nothing wrong with that. You want to write a book for you? Write a book for you. I'm glad I wrote that book. But that's not the one I want to release to the world. I did that for me. And it was a good kind of first round. And so from that question, like, who did I write this for? I really started thinking about my reader. And I started thinking about what's the need out there in this world, because I've read a lot of psychedelic books. My bookshelf's full of them. And I saw an opening because a lot of the books out there, they're very actually intellectual, journalistic or academic, or they're more memoirish, where maybe the author wrote it more for themselves. Like, there's an opening there. Where is the psychedelic self-help book? Where is that friendly, concise, inspirational, easy psychedelic self-help book with some basic principles? And then click, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go write the 7 Habits of Highly Psychedelic People. So there turned out to be 10 principles, not 7, so I have a new title here. And I spent a lot of time on the title, Trip of a Lifetime, The Psychedelic Guide to Healing, Loving, and Living. And I market tested it. I went to this website where you could market test different titles, and this one kept winning over and over again. I spent a lot of time on the cover too, and I pulled that one too, but you know what? The people, the audience, they weren't picking the cover that I actually thought was correct. So for the title and subtitle, I went with, the people's choice, but for the cover, like I had a sense of where I wanted to go, and the truly artsy friends I had, Sean's one of them, was like, nope. Those are shit. Do that one. That looks like a children's fantasy novel. Don't pick that cover. And I didn't want the traditional psychedelia, so that's where it wound up being. God, that was fun. It was so fun to create. And before and as I was starting off this journey to write this book, I put together some affirmations. I'm going to share some of them with you in a second. And these affirmations were kind of like, here's the target, here's what I'm trying to do. And I would kind of read them every morning and just let them sink into my mind, so that as I'm writing, like, it's really focused, it's really deliberate and really intentional. And I can look at all of those affirmations today, roughly a year later, I'm like, oh yeah, that shit fucking worked. That shit worked. And so for the creative types out there, if you haven't played with affirmations around your creative arts, I recommend it. That shit works. And then last came the marketing. About 3 months ago, it was a creative endeavor to figure out, okay, how do I market this book? Oh, I'm going to need teammates, because there's stuff that I'm not good at or frankly just bored by, and they need to fill in that gap. And oh shit, I need to think of myself as a brand. Like, I actually had to sit with that a while because I didn't instantly feel very good. But I'm like, okay, no, I'm okay with that. I'm going to be a brand, because that's how you get your foot in the door. I was talking to a PR firm, and I was telling him, I don't want to be like the military guy. Like, I don't want to emphasize that at all. And he's like, no, Ben, you're walking away from a golden opportunity, because that military story, from Pentagon to plant medicine, that's what gets your foot in the door with podcasters and journalists. It's a good story. So I'm going to embrace the myth. And the end goal of all of this marketing and all of this branding and all of the Instagram and LinkedIn stuff I'm doing, the end goal is to help people. So I will play the game. And here are some of the affirmations. And A few of them I'll highlight here. Divine love and wisdom guide every sentence, paragraph, and chapter I write. Like there was this sense, I'm not actually doing the writing. This ego, I'm just the one that has to sit down in front of the fucking keyboard and do this. It's the subconscious back there, which I believe is our connection to the divine, that's actually doing all the work. I can kind of give it some general directions as like the captain of the ship, go that way. But the details of going that way, I don't know what's going on down there in the bowels of the ship. I don't need to. I just trust that it's unfolding like it's supposed to. I'm a loving creator created by a loving creator. And I'm not afraid to be audacious either. I am delighted to be playfully writing the best psychedelic self-help book ever written. Now, did I achieve that? I don't know. That's not for me to decide. But I wanted to be that audacious, to aim up there. I was in the Air Force, right? Aim high. And so I'd rather aim for that and miss a little bit than to aim low and make it. So I just shamelessly decided, okay, I'm going to pick the most audacious goal I can pick around this book and trust that my brain will somehow help me get there. Another one, with every page, I am closer to helping thousands of people heal, love, and transform their lives. This is reader-focused. This is an intent that it's not about, the book sales. It's not about X, Y, Z, whatever. It actually, at the end of the day, is about helping somebody out there who maybe is as broken and desperate as I felt when this journey began. And writing a book feels like such an individual thing. That's a solo thing, right? Maybe you have this idea of this writer in a cabin in Big Sur all by himself with an old typewriter going like this. I don't know, maybe that's how people wrote back in the day, but no, this was not a solo endeavor at all. One of the things I'm proudest of in the book is in the acknowledgement section, where I really owned that, oh my God, so many people, so many different players helped me write this book. Like I could not have written this book without the people giving me early reviews and giving me feedback and helping me, work on the stuff I'm weak on, which is the more visual things, like over and over again. There were so many people here who helped me get to, this end state. So here's invitation one. Think about your art. Think about your creativity. Think if there's some affirmations that could help you hone that and focus that and reinforce there. This subconscious mind back there is our greatest servant, and if we give it instructions, it's a pretty damn good servant. Okay, so the book's principles. There are 10. And what I was trying to do with this book was to have this reader in mind who maybe doesn't know much about psychedelics. They saw a documentary, read an article, had a friend tell them about it, whatever, and they're curious, but they don't know where to start. So there's 3 phases to this hero's journey: preparation, navigation, and integration. Preparation is when you're getting ready for the journey. What's the medicine that's calling to me? Do I want to do this with just one other person like a therapist? Do I want to do it in a group ceremony? What's the intentions I want to bring into it? All that sort of stuff. Navigation is like you're actually in the medicine. How do I deal with the big overwhelming things that might be happening? The memories I suppressed, the feelings I wasn't able to hold, that sort of thing. And then integration, which is the most important part. Integration is how you bring the lessons of the medicine into your life. Because if you don't do that, all you've had is an interesting experience. And I love an interesting experience, but if you want to transform, there's actually work on the other side. And I think that's where most people fall short in my experience, is that integration piece. So here's the 10 principles, kind of divided up into those 3 categories: preparation, navigation, integration. I snuck in one at the end called disintegration because I wanted to talk about death. So that's my little cheat at the end. So preparation is be the hero, be your own hero. And I do start chapter 1 in the psych ward. My opening line, because I love an opening line to a book, my opening line is, on Veterans Day of 2020, I found myself trapped in a psych ward in Salt Lake City. And that was where I discovered that I had to be my own hero. And I talk about the qualities of a hero, courage, honesty, integrity, that sort of thing. Proclaim your intention. If you're going into a psychedelic journey, you want to have some kind of intent. Even if it's just surrender to the medicine, what's the intention you're bringing to it? Just like with my book, I had to have an intention in order to get somewhere. In a psychedelic journey, you need an intention to at least steer the ship a little bit and then let go. Different from an expectation. Intention's more of like a wish, a prayer to the universe. And then the last piece of preparation is that heal in connection. I was actually talking before the talk about, I don't do psychedelics alone. I always do them with other people. most of our core wounds are about relationship. And so if we're wounded in relationship, we heal in relationship. And so those connected experiences where I've found my most profound healing. Navigation is, you've taken the medicine, whatever it is, ayahuasca, psilocybin, MDMA, there's many. So what's going on in that psychedelic experience? Every one will be different. Every experience, every individual, every medicine, they're always different, but there are some principles. And I use Joseph Campbell in that Enter the Cave section a lot. He has this quote, "In the cave you fear to enter is the treasure that you seek." If I had to pick one line about this healing journey, that's it. In the cave you fear to enter is the treasure that you seek. Because if you really want to heal, you have to go feel those feelings that you don't want to feel. You have to go face realities like, I'm insecure, or some grief that you haven't faced, or maybe some ugly stuff about yourself, like, I can be an asshole. I've unfortunately had to spend a lot of time in psychedelic journeys, like really looking at myself and really copping to my shit. And this guy has not always been the most noble player on this land. Like, I'm sad and ashamed at times of how I behaved on this earth. And then, what's the treasure of going into a cave like that? Maybe the treasure is forgiveness or self-compassion. When I've gone into a cave of insecurity and faced the dragon, what's the treasure? Security. And we think going into this cave, we have to pull out the sword and slay the dragon. No. It's the time to drop the sword and go up and give the dragon a hug. And then, if you give the dragon a hug, something happens. He just leaves. He just walks away. And there's the treasure. So I have hugged the dragon of insecurity in that cave, and I walked away with the treasure of security. Because suddenly, if I can admit I'm insecure in front of a group full of people like this, that's not very shameful, is it? I am naked and not ashamed. And then open your heart. About 6 months ago, I was at Esalen Institute, and there was a 5-day workshop from Bessel van der Kolk. You might know him from The Body Keeps Score, right? Legend. And he was talking about psychedelics on one of the day, describing all the different ones. And then he said something. He said, but they all get you to the same place, the opening of the heart. And I found him at lunch, and I said, I wrote that down. I'm quoting you in the book on that, okay? Okay. So he's quoted in the book there. And that was my experience. I've heard that from clients, too. I had one client say to me, I didn't feel love until the age of 48 when he first did psychedelics. It opened his heart. Another client, probably early 30s from Brazil, and she was talking about her first experience with ayahuasca, and she said, it opened my heart. And that's how I describe my experience. That's how there's something here. There is something here about that opening of the heart, and I think it's beyond just the psychedelic experience. I think it is the spiritual experience. My favorite spiritual book in the whole world is Michael Singer's The Untethered Soul. And if you have to summarize that book really quickly, keep your heart open no matter what. That's kind of what he's saying. It kind of is that simple. If you can stop resisting life and just allow everything to flow through without resistance, boom. I think it might be that simple. Okay, integration. This is after the journey. How do you bring these lessons, bring these revelations, this experience into your life? That's going to look different for everybody. I spent 4 chapters on this because I think it's that important. The lessons could be really simple. On my second big heroic dose of mushrooms, my integration was to apologize to a bunch of people. Like, I came out of there and I literally wrote a list of people that I needed to make amends to, and I went an apology to her. And all but one of those people responded really lovingly to that attempt. Like, okay, cleaning out some karma. For some people, maybe it's quitting drinking, might be leaving a job or a relationship. We need to be careful there. We don't want to be impulsive. But what are the changes we need to bring to our lives? The next thing I talked about is love yourself shamelessly. I realized after psychedelics what a terrible job I did at loving myself. I was pushing myself too hard at work. I wasn't getting enough sleep. I was eating like shit. I was prioritizing everybody else before me, thinking that that was noble for somehow. And after psychedelics, I really shifted to self-love. And it was the most altruistic thing I could do, because the more loving I was to myself, the more loving I was to other people. I'm a better father than I was. I'm a better friend than I was. I'm a better ex-husband than I ever was as a husband, if I'm being truthful. I mentioned creativity earlier. Embrace your imagination. I always tell my clients to go play with creative pursuits like a child. Not to be good, not to impress anybody, just no, like a kid. Like a kid, just get some paint and just paint something. Go try the piano, go try this, go try that. You don't know what's going to call to you necessarily, but just kind of dabble fearlessly in all these different things. And I bet you one of them is really going to call to you. And a lot of these psychedelic experiences can be, intellectual, and journaling can help you work through the ideas there, but sometimes it's so ineffable that maybe a painting is a better way to capture the experience than writing a page in a journal. Being a writer, journaling is like my primary tool of integration. I have my own personal scripture spread out across 5 different notebooks from all these lessons of my higher self that I find in the medicine. And last, savor the aliveness. So when I was down at the retreat, my first psychedelic weekend, at the end they had this list of questions to answer. What were the lessons you learned? Who are you going to be as a result of this? And what are you going to do as a result of these lessons? What are you going to do? And my answer to that, what I wrote down, I'm going to live the fuck out of this life. That was my integration plan, to really savor this aliveness. Henry David Thoreau is a hero of mine, and he talked about most men lead lives of quiet desperation. That was me. And he wrote, I want to live deep. I want to suck out all the marrow of life. I don't want to come to the end of my life and find that I had not lived. Well, I'll tell you, since that first journey, I have lived the fuck out of this life. I really have. I've tried a dozen different medicines. I've opened up for a comedian at the Sunset Center. I've fallen in love. This life of the last 4 years, this is exactly the life I want to live. There is nobody else I want to be, and this is exactly what I want to be doing right now. This shit is exactly what I want to be doing. And then the last chapter is disintegration. I talk about the experience of ego death on psychedelics, and the ultimate surrender is death, right? And the more we can surrender to life, the more we surrender in the psychedelic experiences. This approach to death teaches us about life. And it's not lost on me that my journey into psychedelics started with death. I don't think I would have gone down this road if my father hadn't died. And he is all over me. My last name is Forrest. There's a Forrest, He wanted his skull retained. There's his skull. This embrace of death is the embrace of life, too. We'll do Q&A afterwards, depending on timing, but let me switch to the invitation instead. So, what's my invitation? My invitation for all of you is to be courageous. Be courageous in your art. Be courageous in your lives. Be courageous in diving into your own self. And I'm going to give a quote from Terence McKenna here off my head, and we can check me on the next slide to see if I get it right. But he was somebody who spoke in between the psychedelics exploration of the 50s and 60s in psychology, but before the psychedelic renaissance of this century. So back in the 90s, he wrote a lot of really powerful books, and he has one quote in there that I just love, and it's about courage. Nature loves courage. Dream the impossible dream, and the world will not grind you under. It will lift you up. This is what all the shamans and all the philosophers through the ages, this is what they understood. Dive into the abyss, over the cliff, and discover at the bottom is a feather bed. Yeah, it was pretty close. Oh, yeah. Nature will respond to that commitment by removing impossible obstacles. And I really have found that in my life. Life has become magic. It feels like every connection is a divine appointment, and things just fall into place so beautifully. And if anybody wants to follow me on the Instagram, there's that. Anybody wants to purchase or review the book, there's that. I have quite a few signed copies here if anybody wants to purchase it. But I most of all want to say thank you to each one of you. I don't have a lot of spiritual beliefs. I'm a minimalist in all things. But one spiritual belief I do have is divine appointment. There are people we're supposed to connect with, even if it's just for a conversation. Maybe it's for a lifetime. And so I really do believe that all of you are here on divine appointment. And I appreciate you showing up. I was very respectful to the goddess. So thank you for Mike and Nick and all of you. If there's time for Q&A, we could do that. But if we need to get off stage, I'm off stage.
We're going to hear a few more. We're going to get questions.
Okay.
So if you have a burning question
for Ben that you really want to know about his personal journey, or anything related to this sector, now's your chance to ask the question for everybody, because you might be asking it for many people.
Just say a couple words about what the actual experience was like after you took the psychedelic. What happened physically?
Yeah. So for a lot of people, psychedelics are visual. I don't know, I must have aphantasia or something because I tend not to get visuals. So for me, my first experience was, the first 2 hours was me going into my emotions. Like I laid there sobbing and crying and wailing, and I beat my chest so hard that I had bruises across here. Like it was all of those feelings I'd repressed all had to come out. And for about 2 hours, that's what it was. I'm lying down, and this helper, this beautiful young woman, was holding my hand as I'm going through all these difficult emotions, and my legs are kind of up, and I'm like, oh, I know what this looks like. I feel like I'm giving birth to pain. Like that's what it was. It was the unleashing of pain. So that was the first half, and then the second half was pure bliss. Like I started laughing at the divine comedy of it all. One of the helpers said, hey, Ben, we're going to take you to another room. You're being a little loud. And so I had to go like really deep into this pain and suffering. But the magic was, if I could really go in there and feel it and release it, on the other side was bliss. It was kind of like having to go through purgatory to get to heaven. I had to get like purified of all that shit in order to find the bliss on the other side. But your results will vary. It's different for everybody and different for every medicine. And if I were to go back to that exact same medicine in the exact same place, it would be different today because my needs are different.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
I want you to speak to fear of losing control. Because in putting myself in the shoes of somebody who's never done psychedelics, and those are not my shoes, but if I were, I would be afraid to lose like all my faculties, my ability to remain calm or connected or myself. I'm afraid to let go of all the things I've built up about myself. So I have fear. Can you speak to maybe dissolving that concern?
That is the most common thing I hear from people. I'm curious about this medicine, but I'm afraid, and I'm afraid of losing control. I'm like, that's the fucking point. It is the point to lose control, because we are all control freaks. We're all playing God in our head all day long, and you don't have to give up control forever, but you have an invitation to give up control for 4 hours when you're in a safe environment and everybody else is taking care of everything, and that letting go of control is actually the point. I felt like I was living this life where I was just clutching so tightly to the steering wheel that actually what I needed to do was let go of that steering wheel for a little bit and find that maybe the steering wheel is not even connected to anything. And so, yeah, the letting go of control is the point, and that fear is also the point too. It's like the Campbell quote, "In the cave you fear to enter is the treasure that you seek." If there is some topic that's not causing you any fear, I don't think that's where your work is. The fact that there's fear tells you that's exactly where you should go. I have one thing in this world I fear, and it is a 10-day silent retreat. And this year I'm committed. I'm going to go do one of those Vipassana retreats or something because it scares me. And the fact that it scares me is a good indicator I need to go do that. Maybe Ben needs to learn to shut up from time to time.
We got a burning question over here.
This question might be related to the previous question, and it's about your creative process more. You decided, who are you writing this book for? And I bet there were a million decisions. So how, as a creative, my challenge has been, too many different ideas, but I got to pick one. How did you pick one? How did you know that this was the path for you out of all the things you could have written about? How do you deal with decision?
Yeah. So going towards it being a self-help book meant for like a general audience who couldn't even spell psychedelics, it was at that point just obvious because I don't think anybody else had done it, at least not in the way that I was envisioning it. So no, it just kind of like hit me like that. But I also spent 3 years of false starts trying to figure out what it was. Like at first I wasn't ready to write the book at all, and then I thought it was this self-indulgent memoir, and like there was a lot of like dancing around with it. But once I caught eyes of this one particular idea, I'm like, oh, you are my lover now. Yeah, no, it just hit me. And Yeah, no, I was right. It was clear, like, that's the book that I can write. So all those years I spent trying to write other things was just practice for this idea. Yeah.
Thank you.
I have a final question. If somebody was moved by your talk and is ready to put their toe in the deep end, how do they get started? Where can you direct them?
Read the book.
No, so the book obviously gives principles, but in terms of like specifically what medicine and maybe the where.
Weekend coming up where they could all get
Yeah.
dose?
So, at this point, I know a lot of the players in this world, so offline and unofficially, I could point them to somebody that I think is trustworthy with ayahuasca, somebody I think is trustworthy with mushrooms. People have different expertises.
Good idea. Stand up if you're a facilitator of this medicine.
Oh. Well, I don't think we can turn the camera off, but here, I just won't point it at you, so go to a slide or something. But just stand up because you guys have met each other, but you might not know that these are some of the professions that these guys have. So you can meet these people and ask them questions after the show and talk to them about maybe their offerings, okay? Michael, Nick, and Jenny. All right, great. Okay, so we're gonna switch this up to you guys a little bit more. And wait, stand up here. So we're gonna pass out these stay connected forms. Could you hold that? Absolutely. I got too many things in my hands. And if you wanna sign up for Benjamin's list or Nick's list to hear about his next Back to Wild excursion, hit the checkbox for this. This is for you to fill out and hand in to our assistants before you leave, not for you to fill out and take home with you. And I wanna ask you what your biggest takeaways are. What's your biggest lessons from today? I mean, just go back in time a little bit. What we've gone through this morning, this man has given you some of the greatest gold. And not just what he's got, but that many have dared to achieve. I'm just amazed at the distillation of of your journeys that you've put into the written form and this 40-minute talk. It was so potent, right? So let's pass around the mic, stand up, and let's hear some of your biggest takeaways.
Ben encapsulates one of my biggest philosophies around psychedelics, which is to boldly go. And you have boldly gone. And I really respect that. I admire you. And I love you.
Thank you so much.
Who else is next?
You've reinforced for me a belief that I have to just trust in the universe and do the next right thing beautifully. Just trust in the universe and do the next right thing. You're embodying that. Thank you.
You have inspired me to enter the cave that I fear to enter.
And what cave is that? No, we'll talk later.
Thank you so much. That I just, as a psychonaut myself, I got so much out of the book, but I loved your quote, and this is loosely written, maybe you can give it to me, but holding tightly the steering wheel that I'm not sure what is driving, only to discover the steering wheel was attached to nothing. And just letting go is the fucking point. I just thank you for saying that out loud.
Yeah, that's in the book too.
I think you had a question, a hypothetical question of someone if you were interested in getting started, what would you do? And Ben made a joke about holding his book up, and I just want to say I think that kind of I was kind of that person, right? I've never taken psychedelics, but I'm kind of interested in it, and I read the book, and you were joking, but it's not a joke. It's a wonderful book, and it's a great introduction. And if I happen to be, like I am, someone who had never done psychedelics, who was kind of interested in what it might be like and what you might gain from it, sort of a self-help book, I would recommend Ben Forrest's book. I think it's outstanding.
Then why did you give it 2 stars on Amazon?
What a comeback. All right, I feel like the train is coming to a close here with this trip. Let's hear it for Ben. Community Spotlight. We have time for just a few of these. And don't run off if you have time to stay to meet each other. But do you have a ribbon cutting, a show, a concert Do you offer a workshop that's coming up? Now's your chance to line up over here, one at a time. Come up here. You get 1 minute to talk about what you do and make a strong offer for going deeper with your work. Who's first? Kelly? Ray? She's like, oh, me? And you can line up right over here. We'll do these pretty quickly.
Hi. My name's Kelly. I'm a professional organizer for hire. And last month I had an opportunity to speak at the Carmel Foundation. And with that, I have another opportunity to speak at the Carmel Manors and on the 23rd. And what I do is I basically not only discuss in terms of how I work, but I also talk about taking my clients on a journey, so to speak, in terms of how we label people, how we don't know what the undermeaning of things are and stuff, and also teaching you at the same time to try to figure out the best way for you to approach your own organization. So if you'd like to come and just check it out, there's a full-on PowerPoint. There's a lot of cheering and all of that stuff and high fives, because that's what I do with my clients. You can come and see me on the 23rd. I think it's going to be about 2 o'clock. All right, thanks.
I am so lucky to be able to call Ben Forrest my friend. Was this guy great or what? It was Ben Forrest. My name is Sean Perlmutter. You probably know me as the host of Lovers Know Best, a live game show for couples. I want to talk to you about something that's really special happening in about a month. I've been a BFF for Creative Mornings for a number of years. Creative Mornings Oakland, San Francisco, and now Monterey ever since the beginning. And I'm going to be guest hosting next month. It's the last Friday of every month. Every Creative Morning is the last Friday of every month. And this one happens to fall on Halloween. Now, it's interesting because we think about relationships, and Ben mentioned death before. And when we think about Halloween, like it's time for coming up with the artificial blood and the decapitated heads and the skeletons. But Halloween started as a ceremony to remember loved ones who have passed. And so next month for Creative Mornings, we're bringing in Francie Soito as the speaker. She's a psychic medium, and she's going to be touching the loved ones, connecting with the loved ones of people in the audience. 3 times, we're going to have 3 people who will have their loved ones connected with by Francie. So I hope you all RSVP. You must come to this event. It's going to be very, very special, and I'm excited for it. So that's Halloween of next month, RSVP.
Good morning. My name's Mike Clement. I'm a board member for the Breakthrough Men's community. And one thing that I wanted to share on that I feel touches on a lot of what was spoken about this morning is deep personal work. And I was just a part of a team that led a couple dozen men through the 6-month workshop that we run. We just wrapped up last night and celebrated these men who had been doing some really intense personal work. It was so beautiful to see the change that happened in these men's lives. People who came in from just a wide variety of backgrounds, a wide variety of emotional places, doing some really incredible work, and just seeing the difference from beginning to end in how it touched each of their lives uniquely. We're starting 2 new workshops, an in-person workshop starting next month here in Monterey, and an online workshop that's accessible both to people in the area and to people across the country and internationally. If you're at all interested in checking this out, either yourself or for a man in your life, please come talk to me afterwards or check us out at breakthroughformen.org. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Karen. I'm a singer. I've been singing choruses in Monterey half my life. The Wholehearted Chorus is coming to Monterey at the Golden State Theater on October 22nd, and you can buy tickets. It's online if you go to Golden State Theater. And this is a chorus with Lisa Little Bird, who is a former Esalen workshop person and a fabulous choral director. And we are singing with Mamuse, which is our 2 professional singers. Yes, you know them. We're singing a lot of their songs. They'll be performing with us, and there are over 100 voices, Monterey and Santa Cruz and Big Sur, October 22nd at the Golden State. I hope to see you there.
have a question. Just out of curiosity, who here uses ChatGPT? Raise your hand if you use it. Awesome. Good to know. I'm Jim Peak. I'm a friend of Ben. I really love Ben. We work together in Monterey Comedy Improv. And I'm an AI expert. I combine AI with personal transformation. And I have a course coming up on October 14th that will help you get back some of your time for more creativity, more fun, more time with your loved ones, more of the fun stuff, using automations and actions to get back that time. And I also teach how to use AI to go really deep in your own personal transformation work. So my website is productiveandhappy.com. Check it out and come join me for a webinar or the course. Thank you.
All right. So I know there are a lot of guys here, part of Monterey Comedy Improv, but I got to do a shameless plug for the other improv comedy called Controlled Chaos. Now, I haven't seen one of our shows. It's headed by Maria Dawson, who is amazing. And we have a show coming up at the end of this month. You can go to Controlled Chaos on Instagram, but it is going to be at California's First Theater. It is going to be the first performance in forever, so we're bringing it back. Would love to see you all there. Come and get some more information if you're interested. If you're down for a laugh, you may or may not be put on the spotlight. I may or may not sing a song about you directly and prop you up. So if you want more information, let me know. End of the month, Controlled Chaos. Woo!
Okay, but if you don't want to wait and see that improv troupe, tomorrow at Lighthouse Cinema at 7 o'clock, Monterey Comedy Improv. I'm not saying we're better, but we're different. And we're tomorrow. You could be dead by the time his troupe performs.
Okay, I wasn't prepared. So, Carmel International Film Festival is coming up, first week of October. And my son, who's 17 now, but when he was 16, he made 2 short movies and he got accepted. So they're showing his movie. But there are tons of wonderful movies to be seen there. But please check out and research and what movies are being shown. And this year, there are a lot of important celebrities that are also coming down. So go get your tickets and check out the schedule. So I'm very proud of my son having his movie being shown. I think it's October. Adam Angel has 2 movies, 2 short movies. One drama called Ecdysis. That means when a snake sheds its skin. It's very symbolic. And the other one is a documentary about music. So please go see Carmel Film Festival.
Thank you for an impactful trip to this morning. Thank you to Ben. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, everybody who came and spoke from your heart, from the audience, to make this a really great in-person event. And live streamers, I hope you can join us next time on Halloween Day with Francie Soito. Our theme is soft. So come be soft with us next month. That's it. Thank you very much.